Sultan Abdul Aziz Royal Gallery was the brainchild of the 11th Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Malaysia, the late Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah. Initially, it was called as Museum Kenangan or Memorial Museum. It was located in Jalan Kota, Kampung Jawa in Klang and was officiated by His Royal Highness Sultan Sharifuddin Idris Shah on 19 October 2007.
Bangunan dibina pada tahun 1909 pada zaman Pemerintahan British. Dan bangunan ini orang Klang dahulu pada zaman dulu dia panggil bangunan ini sebagai White House itu sebab bangunan ini kan berwarna putih, jadi orang-orang Klang dipanggil sebagai White House lah. Dan bangunan ini pernah dijadikan sebagai pejabat daerah pada zaman British, pernah diduduki oleh masa zaman Perang Dunia Kedua, itu zaman Jepun pernah jadikan sebagai markas tentera. Dan pernah lepas tu tamat Perang Jepun balik kepada pentadbiran kerajaan, lepas tu pernah dijadikan sebagai NPK dan last sekali dijadikan galeri Diraja Sultan Aziz. Pada tahun 2005 diambil alih dan 2007 dipersuai dan dibuka kepada orang awam. Dijadikan galeri lah. Seperti mana kita tengok ada galeri.
Sultan Abdul Aziz Royal Gallery was dedicated in honouring of his late father Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah, who ruled over 39 years old as the Sultan of Selangor and 2 years as the Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Malaysia. The Royal Gallery, highlighting the rich history and heritage of the Selangor Sultanate, originating in 1766 from the Bugis Sulawesi royal family of Opu Tan Rabung dan Rolaka of the Malay Archipelago, continued by the insight of the late Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah, childhood and early years as the Crown Prince, his career in military and public offices until his appointment as the 8th Sultan of Selangor in 1960 and as the 11th Yang di-Pertuan Agong in 2001.
The Royal Gallery is also called as the White House due to the majestic court of the white paint. The building gained amazement from both locals and tourists due to its grandiose ambience, which is enhanced by the classical architecture with charming columns and beautiful landscape garden. The Royal Gallery was cleverly designed by Arthur B. Habeck, a well-known architect in 1909 during the British colonization. He worked alongside the public work departments of the Federated Malay State on designing the building. His other notable works are the Kuala Lumpur Railway Station, Masjid Jamek Mosque, the Malay College in Kuala Kangsar, and Kakosa City Hall. The building was standing proudly with its neo-classical accent architecture. This can be seen by the symmetrical design of the facade and the tall central portico, which acts as the grand entrance. The building was painted white to resemble the whitewashed brick walls, which is a common trait in the neo-classical architecture. The courtyard played an important role in enhancing the design of the building, where very minimal foliage and plants were used to avoid overwhelming greenery and appreciation of its aesthetical value. The garden was influenced by the Asian essence due to the featuring of the garden lion and the combination of the gravel, grass, and water feature to create the tranquil space. Thus, this shows that the building was designed to reflect the values and circumstances that shaped the advancement of the people until the current times. The building structures embodies the past economic, social, architectural, and cultural developments and serve as an important measure that creates a harmonious environment as the community able to learn to appreciate the unique blend of the culture. The refurbishment and conservation works were conducted by architect Lauren Lim. He was personally approached by His Royal Highness himself throughout the process of renovation and refurbishing of the building.
Who is the person in charge to lead the conservation project?
Okay. Initially, the program or the project itself was initiated by His Royal Highness the Sultan himself, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah. When he identified that building, bangunan Sultan Sulaiman building, as a new site for the Royal Gallery, that's where we start going in and we'll see what we have to do, because that building was built back in 1909. So 1909, it is an old building, yeah. Back then it was known as the White House of Klang. Back in 1909, the British district officer would stay there as their office, the British officer's office, close to the Sultan, who stayed at the palace up on the hill, yeah, in Klang. An office building from 1909 it was transformed into a war headquarters during the Japanese occupation during World War II, survived the war, and after that it was turned into other government offices until it was identified as the new premise for the Sultan Abdul Aziz Royal Gallery in 2002. So 2002 was initiated by the Sultan, of course, but who actually in charge of doing the conservation work, we have to appoint, because the building belongs to the state. Because it's a state property, we have to deal with the state authority. So the people in charge was JKR, Jabatan Kerja Raya, yeah. And of course, because they don't have the expertise in doing the conservation, they in turn have to hire a consultant who are in the field of conservation. We identify what needs to be done with the building, and of course, proper procedure being done in order to select the correct people to do the conservation work. That was in 2004. Actually, the process of identifying the people who are gonna carry out the work. So to answer your question, the person in charge is still JKR, but the one who actually do the work is actually consultant or conservationist, which have been appointed by JKR to do. And we actually, as the owner or occupant of the building, we oversee the work to make sure whatever we had identified to be done is being done properly. That's also the job of JKR. They become the project manager. Conservation part of the building is not that difficult, because the building has been used throughout. It's never been left idle. In other words, from 1909 until 2004, when we want to start the project of changing it into the Royal Gallery, the building has always been used. Because of that, it's not in a terrible shape, yeah. So every people who stay there always take care of the building. It's just that when we moved in the year 2004, we go back to the conservation aspect of the building. In other words, if they do modification inside the building, we go back to what it was when it was in 1909. If they change the color of the building, from the research, we find out what's the original color of the building itself. We change back to that. That's what I'm talking about. So, for example, even the tiles or the roof, if they change to something else, we have to go back to what it was when it was first built in 1909. That was the job from the consultant, yeah.
Of conserving the building, central court often the north for the consideration
learn more about our culture and diversity of architecture tradition, uniqueness and the beauty of the Muslim culture. Having us bersama family of the fun that forget whatever the meaning of life. Unlock this from our community that we charity